Imagine waking up tomorrow with a mind that feels clear, steady, and unshakable. No storm of thoughts, no restless emotions pulling you in every direction, no inner noise drowning out your peace. Imagine moving through your day with the calm of a still lake, no matter what storms rage around you. This is not a fantasy. It's the natural state of the mind when we learn how to master it, and this mastery is something anyone can cultivate. But the truth is, most of us live as prisoners of our own thoughts. We carry the weight of yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's fears on our shoulders. We replay conversations we wish had gone differently, and we build entire scenarios around things that haven't even happened yet. Our minds run endlessly, and instead of being the masters, we become the servants. Today, we are going to explore 10 powerful Buddhist teachings that will help you take back that control, not by fighting your mind, but by understanding it, guiding it, and turning it into your greatest ally. These teachings are timeless, practical, and life-changing. If you stay until the end, you will not only learn how to silence mental chaos, but also how to unlock a deeper power within you. We all know how easy it is for the mind to slip away from where we are. One moment, you're sitting quietly, maybe enjoying a cup of tea, and the next, your thoughts have carried you far into the past, revisiting an argument from years ago, replaying every word and wondering if you could have handled it differently. Or they've rushed into the future, imagining every possible way something could go wrong tomorrow, next week, or even years ahead. This constant jumping between what was and what might be exhausts us. It steals the joy from our present experiences and fills us with unnecessary tension. It's like walking down a narrow path with a heavy rope tied to your left, dragging you into yesterday's shadows, and another tied to your right, pulling you toward tomorrow's fog. You can't walk freely because you're trapped between two forces that don't even exist anymore: the past that's gone and the future that hasn't yet arrived. The Buddha understood this deeply. He taught that the present moment is the only true reality we ever have. Everything else is a mental construct. The past is nothing but memory, and the future is only imagination. This very breath, this heartbeat, the sensation of your feet touching the floor, these are the only things that are truly alive right now. When you anchor your awareness here in the present, you take back the steering wheel of your mind. You stop being a passenger lost in the stories your thoughts create, and instead you become the driver who decides where the mind will go. This shift doesn't just bring clarity, it breaks the spell of fear and regret, because those emotions only survive when fed by past and future thinking. Think of your mind like a balloon floating in the wind. When it's untethered, it drifts endlessly, sometimes to sunny skies, but often into storms, slammed against sharp branches of regret or worry. But if you tie that balloon to a steady anchor, it remains still no matter how hard the wind blows. That anchor is your present moment. It doesn't matter what storms rage around you. When your awareness is here, you are steady, grounded, and safe. Another way to see it is as a camera lens. If it's constantly zooming in and out, shifting focus, the image will always be blurry. But the moment you fix it on a single point, the picture becomes crystal clear. Start small. 3 times a day. Once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once in the evening. Take a mindful pause. Close your eyes. Take 3 slow, deep breaths, feeling the air fill your lungs, and then release. Listen for the sounds around you, the hum of a fan, the chirping of birds, the faint rhythm of your own heartbeat. Notice the sensations in your body, the temperature of the air, the weight of your clothes, the feeling of your feet against the ground. Don't judge, label, or analyze. Just observe. Over time, this practice will train your mind to rest in the present naturally. You'll find yourself less caught up in racing thoughts and more rooted in the here and now, even without trying. The more you learn to live in the present moment, the less control the past and future have over your emotions, decisions, and peace. You begin to notice that life feels lighter, that your reactions are calmer, and that you can handle situations with a clarity that surprises even you. This is not just a meditation exercise, it's a way of living. When you master the present, you don't just control your mind, you open the door to mastering your entire life. Because the truth is, the mind can only be controlled here, in this breath, in this heartbeat, in this single moment where you are fully alive. One of the biggest traps our minds fall into is the constant need to label, judge, and cling. The moment a thought appears, we either welcome it with open arms if it feels pleasant, or we resist and fight it if it feels unpleasant. We chase after happy moments as if we could trap them in a jar, and we run from uncomfortable ones as if we could escape them forever. But the mind's nature is change. Thoughts, emotions, and sensations are always in motion, like clouds drifting across the sky. When we attach to them, we suffer. When we identify with them, saying, "This is me, this is my thought, this is my problem," we give them more power than they deserve. The suffering doesn't come from the thought itself, but from the way we grab onto it and refuse to let it pass. Buddha taught the principle of anicca, impermanence. Everything that arises in the mind is temporary. A thought comes, stays for a while, and passes. An emotion swells like a wave, then fades back into the ocean. The problem is not the wave, it's our attempt to hold it still or push it away. When we learn to simply observe without attaching, the mind remains undisturbed. It's like standing on the shore and watching the waves roll in and out without trying to control the tide. This is not indifference, it's freedom. Freedom from being controlled by every passing ripple of thought or feeling. Imagine sitting on a hill, overlooking a busy road. Cars pass by, some beautiful, shiny, and new. Others rusty, noisy, and unpleasant. If you tried to run after every car you liked or stop every car you disliked, you'd exhaust yourself. The wiser choice is to simply sit and watch. Thoughts are like those cars. Some you enjoy, some you don't, but they all pass if you let them. The moment you attach, it's as if you've jumped into the road, risking harm and chaos. By staying seated, as a silent observer, you protect your peace. Each time a thought arises, whether it's joyful, angry, anxious, or sad, take a moment to silently say, "This is just a thought." Do not add a story to it. Do not chase it. Do not fight it. Picture it like a cloud drifting across the sky of your mind. If it's heavy and dark, let it drift. If it's light and beautiful, let it drift. The practice is to see everything, pleasant or unpleasant, as passing weather. You can even try labeling thoughts lightly, planning, remembering, judging, imagining. This helps create a little space between you and the thought, reminding you that you are not your mind, you are the one watching it. When you master the art of observing without attachment, you unlock one of the deepest forms of mental control. The world around you can shift. Emotions can rise and fall, but you remain steady. You're no longer dragged into the drama of every passing thought, and your peace no longer depends on everything going your way. This is the strength of the still observer, the one who sees all, clings to nothing, and remains free. Many people treat their minds as if they are wild, untamable forests, places where anything can grow, from towering trees of wisdom to thorny weeds of fear and resentment. We let seeds be planted by the news we watch, the conversations we engage in, the memories we replay, and the worries we feed. Then we wonder why the garden of our mind feels overgrown, chaotic, and sometimes suffocating. But here is the truth. Your mind becomes whatever you cultivate in it. If you leave it unattended, weeds will thrive. If you tend it with care, beauty will blossom. The problem is that most of us have never been taught how to be the gardeners of our own inner world. Buddha often used nature as a metaphor for the mind. He taught that wholesome thoughts are like nourishing seeds, while harmful thoughts are like invasive weeds. Every action, every word, every choice begins first as a seed in the mind. If you plant seeds of compassion, patience, and wisdom, those qualities will grow strong. If you allow seeds of anger, envy, and greed to take root, they will spread until they crowd out the light. Training the mind is not about forcing it into silence. It's about choosing what you feed and what you starve. A gardener knows that the soil is always fertile. It will grow whatever is planted in it. Your mind is the same. Picture two gardens side by side. One is wild and overrun. Weeds choke the flowers, thorns block the path, and decay hides the beauty beneath. The other is well tended, rows of vibrant plants, blossoms opening to the sun, and a gentle fragrance in the air. Both gardens have the same soil, the same sun, the same rain. The difference is the gardener's attention. Your mind is that soil. Every thought you allow to stay is a seed you're watering. So the question is, are you watering weeds or flowers? Each day, become aware of what you are planting. When you catch yourself feeding a harmful thought, replaying a grudge, imagining a disaster, or envying someone else, pause, picture it as a weed, and choose not to water it. Then deliberately plant a better seed in its place. For example, replace I can't with I will try. Replace they have more than me with I am grateful for what I have. Just as a gardener pulls weeds every morning, make it a habit to check your thoughts daily. Even 5 minutes of mindful reflection each evening can help you notice which seeds are thriving. When you take responsibility for the seeds you plant, your mind becomes a place of peace, clarity, and strength. This isn't an overnight transformation. Gardens don't bloom in a day, but with steady care, the weeds will wither and the flowers will grow. Eventually, your mind will become a sanctuary, a place you can retreat to for strength no matter what's happening outside. And once you become the master gardener of your own mind, no storm can uproot the peace you've cultivated. We live in a world that is constantly pouring information into our minds. Every conversation, every headline, every image on a screen is like a visitor knocking at the door of your mental home. Some visitors bring wisdom, peace, and inspiration. Others bring fear, anger, and distraction. The problem is that most of us leave the gates of our minds wide open, allowing anything and everything to enter without question. Over time, the mind becomes cluttered and restless, filled with voices that are not our own. And just like an unprotected house is vulnerable to thieves, an unguarded mind is vulnerable to negativity, confusion, and doubt. Buddha often spoke of guarding the senses, sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and thought as a way of guarding the mind. What we allow in through these gates shapes the quality of our thoughts and emotions. If we constantly expose ourselves to noise, conflict, and harmful influences, we should not be surprised when our inner world feels unsettled. But if we choose carefully what we let in, the mind becomes clear and strong. Guarding the gates of the mind is not about shutting yourself off from the world, it's about choosing wisely which voices you allow to shape your inner landscape. Imagine your mind as a beautiful temple at the top of a hill. The gates of this temple are always watched by a guardian. If the guardian allows in every visitor, thieves, troublemakers, and vandals, the temple will soon be damaged and defiled. But if the guardian is wise and discerning, the temple remains a place of peace and beauty. You are that guardian. The gates are your senses, and every moment you have the choice to decide what enters. Start by becoming more mindful of your daily inputs. Notice the kind of media you consume, the conversations you engage in, and the environments you spend time in. Ask yourself, does this bring peace or unrest? Does it nourish my mind or poison it? If it drains your energy or stirs up negativity, close that gate. Replace harmful influences with uplifting ones. Read words of wisdom. Listen to calming music. Spend time in nature and surround yourself with people who inspire growth. Even a few small changes can have a powerful impact on your mental clarity. When you learn to guard the gates of your mind, you protect the sacred space within you. You become the keeper of your own peace, no longer at the mercy of the chaos outside. Over time, you'll find that your thoughts are clearer, your emotions more balanced, and your spirit more resilient. This is not isolation, it's self-respect. By choosing what enters your mind, you choose the quality of the life you live. So much of our pain in life comes not from what actually happens to us, but from the way we meet those moments. You might think the problem is the insult, the unexpected bill, the broken promise, or the sudden shift in your plans. But the truth is, the problem is often our own unguarded reaction. When something unexpected strikes, most of us respond from habit, not from wisdom. An unkind word makes us snap back with our own. A disappointment makes us shut down or complain. A sudden challenge makes us panic before we even take time to understand it. These reactions feel instinctive, but they are often simply patterns we've learned over the years. And the danger is that in reacting quickly, we almost always make the situation worse. Words spoken in the heat of the moment leave wounds that take years to heal. Actions taken without thought can destroy trust, opportunities, and relationships. Life is full of waves, some gentle, some violent, but the harm is often not from the wave itself, it's from the way we flail against it instead of learning to ride it. Buddha taught that there is a sacred space between what happens and what we choose to do about it. In that space lies our freedom and our power. If we skip over it, if we move from event to reaction without pausing, we are no better than leaves tossed in the wind, entirely at the mercy of circumstances. But if we learn to dwell in that space, even for a breath, we become the calm center in the storm. Responding instead of reacting is about reclaiming that space. It is the difference between being driven by impulse and being guided by wisdom. To react is to hand over control to the mind's conditioning. To respond is to step into awareness and choose with intention. This choice transforms not only the outcome of situations, but also the very nature of our inner life. A reactive person is like a matchstick, easily lit, quickly burned out, and often leaving damage behind. A responsive person is like a steady lamp, glowing consistently, illuminating the path, and never burning out in a burst of flame. Think of a cup filled with liquid. When someone bumps into you, what spills out is only what you had inside. If your cup is filled with anger, bitterness, or fear, then that is what will spill when life bumps you. But if it's filled with patience, understanding, and peace, then those qualities will flow out instead. Life will inevitably bump into you through unexpected events, difficult people, and moments of stress. The real question is not whether you will be shaken. The real question is, what have you been filling your cup with? Reacting is like carrying a cup full to the brim with boiling water, spilling it on yourself and others at the slightest jolt. Responding is like carrying cool, refreshing water, offering it to others even when you've been jostled. Train yourself in the art of the sacred pause. When you feel a strong emotional pull, whether it's anger, anxiety, or frustration, resist the urge to act immediately. Instead, take 3 deep breaths. With each breath, imagine you are stepping back from the edge of a cliff. Use that pause to ask yourself, what outcome do I truly want here? Will what I say or do next bring more peace or more chaos? If you can, delay your response entirely until your mind has settled. This might mean excusing yourself from the conversation, writing down your thoughts before speaking them, or simply waiting a few minutes before replying to a message. Over time, your brain learns that you do not have to obey every emotional impulse. You can choose instead to act with clarity and compassion. And here's another practice. When small irritations arise, practice letting them pass without comment. This strengthens your ability to handle bigger challenges without losing control. When you master the art of responding instead of reacting, you become unshakable. You no longer feel like a prisoner of your emotions or a puppet pulled by the strings of habit. You step into the role of the mindful warrior, calm, deliberate, and unafraid. Your relationships begin to change because people sense your steadiness. They feel safer around you, more respected, and more willing to listen. And perhaps most importantly, you feel a deep self-respect because you are no longer ashamed of words spoken in anger or decisions made in haste. You carry yourself with dignity, knowing that you have the power to shape your actions, your relationships, and your life, not by controlling the world, but by mastering yourself. One of the greatest sources of mental exhaustion comes from our constant attempt to control everything around us, people, events, outcomes, and even the future. We want life to unfold according to our expectations, and when it doesn't, frustration rises, anxiety creeps in, and we feel as if the ground beneath us has shifted. We try to control how others think, what they do, how they see us, and how situations turn out. But this effort is like trying to hold back the tide with our hands. No matter how hard we try, the waves will still come, and the more we resist, the more drained we become. This attachment to control is not only tiring, it's an illusion. We never truly control the world, we only influence it, and even that is limited. The more we cling to control, the more life feels like an endless battle and the more we lose sight of the present moment. Buddha taught the power of letting go, of understanding impermanence, of recognizing that the only true control we have is over our own mind and actions. When we release the need to control external circumstances, we open ourselves to peace. Detachment doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we stop grasping. It is the shift from forcing life to be a certain way to flowing with life as it is. This shift transforms our experience because we no longer fight what's beyond our power. Instead, we focus on what we can genuinely shape, our choices, our perspective, and our response to whatever life brings. It is in this surrender that we find real strength, because we are no longer broken by what we cannot change. Imagine holding a handful of sand. If you squeeze your hand tightly, trying to keep every grain in place, the sand slips faster through your fingers. But if you relax your hand, the sand remains, resting gently in your palm. Life is like that sand. The harder you try to grip it, the more it escapes you. But when you hold it lightly without fear of loss, you experience it fully while it's with you. Detachment is not about letting everything fall away. It's about holding it gently enough so you don't crush it in your effort to keep it. Start small by observing moments when you feel the urge to control. Perhaps when someone doesn't act the way you want, when plans change unexpectedly, or when the outcome is uncertain. In those moments, remind yourself, I cannot control this, but I can control my response. Focus on actions within your power, keeping your composure, choosing words carefully, adapting with grace. Practice saying internally, let it be as it is. You can also build a daily habit of reflection by asking yourself each night, what did I try to control today that was beyond my reach? How could I have approached it with more acceptance? Over time, these moments of awareness loosen your grip and teach you to live with more ease. When you let go of the need to control, you free yourself from an endless struggle against reality. You begin to move through life like a skilled sailor, adjusting your sails to the wind instead of trying to command the wind itself. You conserve your energy for what truly matters, and in doing so, you discover a deeper peace that no circumstance can take away. Detachment is not weakness. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can thrive no matter how life unfolds. And in that freedom, the mind finds its stillness, its clarity, and its strength. In our fast-paced world, silence has become rare, and stillness almost feels unnatural. From the moment we wake, we are surrounded by sound, stimulation, and distraction. The buzz of notifications, the hum of traffic, the constant chatter of thoughts in our own mind. We fill every empty moment with something: music, scrolling, conversations, or planning the next task. But this constant noise, both external and internal, makes it almost impossible to truly hear ourselves. Without stillness, our mind becomes like a muddy pond. The more it's stirred, the cloudier it gets. And when our mind is cloudy, we can't see clearly, can't think clearly, and can't feel deeply. The truth is, our deepest insights, our clearest decisions, and our most powerful inner peace come not from constant movement, but from intentional stillness. Buddha often withdrew into solitude, not to escape the world, but to return to it with clarity and compassion. Inner stillness is not simply the absence of noise, it is the quieting of the mind's endless commentary. It is a practice of letting go of mental clutter so that we can connect with a deeper, calmer awareness. This stillness is where wisdom arises, where we become aware of the impermanent nature of thoughts and emotions, and where we learn not to be ruled by them. In stillness, we remember that we are not our thoughts, we are the awareness that observes them. Cultivating inner stillness daily is like sharpening a sword. It strengthens your mental clarity and prepares you to meet life with balance. Imagine a glass of water filled with dirt. If you keep shaking the glass, the dirt swirls endlessly, clouding the water. But if you set the glass down and leave it undisturbed, the dirt slowly settles to the bottom and the water becomes clear. Your mind is the same. If you constantly stir it with distractions, judgments, and worries, it stays cloudy. But when you give it stillness, the dirt settles and clarity emerges on its own. You don't have to force it, you just have to stop shaking it. Dedicate at least 10 minutes each day to intentional stillness. Find a quiet spot, sit comfortably, and close your eyes. Focus on your breathing, feeling each inhale and exhale without trying to control it. When thoughts arise, and they will, don't push them away and don't chase them. Simply notice them and let them drift like clouds across the sky. Over time, extend this stillness to moments throughout your day, waiting in line, sitting in traffic, or even washing dishes. Treat these pauses as opportunities to quiet the mind and reconnect with your inner peace. Eventually, stillness becomes less of a practice and more of a natural state that follows you everywhere. When you cultivate inner stillness daily, you create a sanctuary within yourself that no noise from the outside world can disturb. In that quiet space, you find a deeper connection to yourself, to others, and to life itself. Decisions become clearer, emotions become calmer, and your sense of purpose grows stronger. Stillness is not laziness, it is the foundation of strength, and the more you return to it, the more unshakable you become in a world that never stops moving. One of the most common sources of disappointment in life comes from the gap between who people truly are and who we expect them to be. We create mental pictures of how a friend, partner, family member, or colleague should behave, how they should think, act, and respond. And when reality doesn't match our picture, frustration, resentment, and even heartbreak can take root. We end up judging people not for their actions, but for failing to meet the story we've written about them in our minds. This habit can damage relationships, strain our inner peace, and keep us trapped in cycles of blame. The truth is, we suffer not because of how people are, but because of the expectations we place on them. Buddha taught that much of our suffering comes from attachment, not just to possessions or outcomes, but to our mental images of how life and people should be. When we attach too tightly to these ideas, we miss the reality in front of us. To see people as they are is to drop the filter of expectation and meet them with acceptance. This doesn't mean we approve of harmful behavior or allow others to mistreat us. It means we stop expecting people to act according to the script in our head. By doing this, we free ourselves from the constant disappointment of expecting perfection from imperfect beings, just as we too are imperfect. When we accept people as they are, we interact with them based on truth rather than fantasy, and our relationships become grounded in understanding instead of frustration. Imagine you're wearing tinted glasses. Everything you see is colored by the shade of the lens. If the glasses are blue, even a bright red flower will appear dark and muted. Expectations are like those tinted glasses. They color everything we see, often hiding the true beauty of what's in front of us. Taking off those glasses is like seeing the world in its true light for the first time. You don't need the flower to change color, you just need to see it as it is. The next time someone's words or actions upset you, pause and ask yourself, am I upset because of what they did or because they didn't do what I expected? Reflect honestly on whether your frustration is about reality or about a story you created in your mind. Practice observing people without labeling them as good or bad, and instead focus on understanding their perspective. You can also journal about the expectations you carry. Writing them down often reveals how many of them are unrealistic or unspoken. Over time, this awareness helps you approach relationships with curiosity instead of control, allowing space for genuine connection. When you begin to see people as they are, you release yourself from the exhausting task of constantly trying to change them. You allow others the freedom to be themselves, and in doing so, you create more peace for yourself. Relationships become lighter, less burdened by silent demands. You begin to understand that true compassion is not about molding people into what you want. It's about loving them even when they don't fit the mold. And when you master this, you step into a deeper form of wisdom, the ability to accept life as it unfolds, without needing it to match the picture in your mind. Many of us are not truly living in this moment. We are living in yesterday. We carry our history like a shadow that follows us everywhere. The arguments we replay in our minds, the mistakes we wish we could undo, the relationships that ended but still echo in our hearts. All of these memories, both big and small, become like invisible chains wrapped around us. Some chains are forged from regret, the decisions we wish we had made differently. Others are made of resentment, the wounds caused by someone else's words or actions. Still others are woven from nostalgia, a longing for better days we think we've lost forever. And each time we focus on these moments, whether in joy or in pain, we step out of the present and back into a time that no longer exists. It's like trying to drive a car while staring only in the rearview mirror. No matter how carefully you hold the wheel, you're bound to miss what's happening right in front of you. And the weight of this past is not always obvious. Sometimes it shows up as hesitation, a fear of moving forward because the past taught us that trying might lead to failure. Sometimes it appears as mistrust, a wall we put up because of someone who once hurt us. Sometimes it's an invisible sadness, a heaviness in the heart that comes from reliving what's already gone. Yet life keeps moving forward, moment by moment, whether we are ready to join it or not. When we keep clutching the past, we miss the miracle of the present, and that is a loss we can never recover. Buddha's teachings are clear. Attachment is one of the root causes of suffering, and this includes our attachment to the past. We often think that holding on protects us, that by remembering we honor the lessons or the love we once had. But there is a difference between learning from the past and living in it. The first gives us wisdom. The second keeps us trapped. Letting go is not an act of betrayal toward our past. It is an act of loyalty toward our present. It does not mean erasing what happened. It means releasing the grip it has on your emotions, your decisions, and your identity. Buddha once said, "The past is already gone. The future is not yet here. There's only one moment for you to live, and that is the present moment." If we take this teaching to heart, we begin to see that our pain often doesn't come from the event itself, but from our refusal to set it down. The mind clings to the story, feeding it with attention until it grows into something bigger than it truly is. But just as a fire dies without fuel, our past loses its power when we stop feeding it our energy. Letting go is not forgetting, it is choosing freedom over imprisonment. Imagine carrying a heavy stone in your hand. At first, it's not so bad. You can manage the weight, but the longer you carry it, the heavier it feels. Hours later, your arm is sore, your grip is tired, and the weight that once felt bearable now feels crushing. The stone hasn't changed. You have simply grown weary from holding it. The past is exactly like that stone. In the beginning, we think holding it is necessary, maybe even comforting. But as days turn into months and months into years, the weight drains us, leaving us less able to carry what truly matters. Setting the stone down doesn't erase it from existence. It simply frees your hands to hold something new. Letting go of the past begins with awareness. The next time you find yourself replaying a past event, pause and notice it. Ask yourself, is this helping me right now, or is it keeping me stuck? If it's the latter, gently redirect your attention to something in the present, the sound of your breathing, the feel of your feet on the ground, the colors around you. You can also create a symbolic release ritual. Write down the memory or regret on a piece of paper, read it one last time, and then burn it, tear it, or release it into running water. As you do this, say aloud or silently, "I thank you for your lesson, and now I set you free." This physical act sends a clear message to your mind and heart that you are ready to let go. Another practice is to replace past-focused thoughts with gratitude. If your mind starts drifting to what went wrong, shift your focus to what is going right in this moment. Keep a daily gratitude list. Even 3 simple things you are thankful for right now can redirect your mind toward the present. The more you train your mind to notice the good in your current reality, the less it will wander into the shadows of yesterday. When you let go of the past, you are not erasing your history, you are reclaiming your life. You begin to see that your past does not define you. It has simply shaped you. You take the lessons with you but leave the pain behind. This shift is not instant. It's a gentle practice, like loosening a knot one thread at a time. But each time you release a little more, you feel lighter, freer, and more able to embrace the opportunities right in front of you. The past is a teacher, but it is not your home. Your home is here, in this moment, in this breath. And when you finally put down the weight you've been carrying, you realize that life feels different, not because the world has changed, but because you have. You are no longer walking forward while looking back. You are facing the horizon with open hands and an open heart, ready to meet the present as it is. And in that moment, you discover the true meaning of freedom. One of the most silent yet powerful chains that binds people is the fear of what others might think. From a young age, many of us learn to adjust our words, our actions, and even our dreams to fit into the expectations of others. We begin to measure our worth by the approval we receive and to avoid paths that might invite criticism. Over time, this fear of judgment becomes so deeply rooted that we might not even realize it's guiding our decisions. It's the reason we hold back from speaking our truth in a meeting, the reason we hide our real passions from our friends, or the reason we pretend to be someone we are not just to be accepted. And yet, no matter how much we try to please everyone, there will always be someone who disapproves. Living in this fear is like walking through life in a cage. The bars are invisible, but they are strong enough to keep you from stepping into your full potential. This fear doesn't just limit your actions, it dulls your spirit. It stops you from expressing your authentic self and makes you dependent on a constant stream of validation from the outside world. And the most painful truth, even when you do everything right, you cannot control what others think of you. Their opinions belong to them, shaped by their own experiences, beliefs, and biases. They are not a reflection of your true worth. Buddha's wisdom teaches us that attachment to the approval of others is just another form of craving. And like all cravings, it leads to suffering. To live without fear of judgment, you must anchor your sense of self, not in the shifting winds of others' opinions, but in the still ground of your own integrity. The Dhammapada reminds us, if, like a broken gong, you do not reverberate with insults, you have already attained peace. This is not about arrogance or refusing feedback. It's about no longer being a prisoner to the praise or criticism of others. When you act from the truth of who you are, you naturally begin to see that external judgment loses its power. Some will approve, some will not, but neither should determine your path. Living authentically means aligning your actions with your values, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's misunderstood. It means accepting that you will never be universally liked and finding peace in that reality. Imagine standing in front of a mirror in a funhouse where each mirror distorts your reflection. One makes you look taller, another makes you look shorter, and another twists your image entirely. If you judge yourself by each reflection, you would never know your true form. The opinions of others are like those mirrors, each one distorted by personal perspective. You cannot control the shape of the mirror, but you can choose not to define yourself by it. Your true self exists beyond the distortions. Start by becoming aware of how often fear of judgment influences your choices. Before making a decision, pause and ask yourself, am I doing this because it's true to me, or because I'm afraid of what someone will think? If it's the latter, challenge yourself to take a small step toward authenticity. Speak up in a conversation when you'd normally stay silent. Wear what you genuinely like, even if it's not the trend. Share an idea that matters to you, even if it might be criticized. Another powerful practice is meditation on self-compassion. Sit quietly, place your hand on your heart, and repeat silently, I am enough as I am. I release the need for approval. I choose to live in truth. Over time, this strengthens your inner confidence so that the noise of external judgment fades. Surround yourself with people who value you for your essence, not just for your compliance with their expectations. When you live without fear of judgment, you give yourself permission to be fully alive. You step outside the invisible cage and breathe the fresh air of authenticity. You discover that the opinions of others, whether good or bad, are simply passing clouds in the sky of your life. They come, they go, and they cannot change the vastness of who you are. In this freedom, you stop performing and start living. You speak your truth with kindness, but without apology. You follow your calling without waiting for permission. And you realize that the people who truly matter will not love you more for being perfect. They will love you for being real. And that, in the end, is the only approval you ever truly need. We began this journey by recognizing a truth. The mind can be both our greatest ally and our most persistent obstacle. Left untamed, it pulls us into worry, fear, regret, and distraction. But guided by wisdom, it becomes a source of clarity, peace, and unshakable strength. The 10 steps we've explored are not just ideas to think about. They are living practices. They are seeds you can plant today, and with patience and care, they will grow into a garden of inner freedom. Each principle, from anchoring yourself in the present moment, to letting go of the past, to living without fear of judgment, is a tool for liberation. None of these steps promise instant transformation. They are not shortcuts. Instead, they are steady, reliable paths that, when walked consistently, reshape the way you experience life. And the beauty is, you do not need to master all 10 at once. Even if you take one step and live it deeply, it will begin to shift your inner world. Over time, these teachings work together like threads, weaving a strong, unbreakable fabric within you. A mind that cannot be easily shaken, a heart that cannot be easily broken, and a spirit that stands untouchable. Remember, the path of mastery is not about perfection. You will have days when your mind slips back into old habits, when fear or anger takes over, when you feel like you've lost your way. On those days, be gentle with yourself. Return to the present, breathe, and take the next small step. Every time you come back, you strengthen the muscles of awareness and resilience. If you carry one thought with you from this video, let it be this: you already have everything you need to be untouchable. It is not about becoming someone else. It is about uncovering the clarity, strength, and wisdom that have always been within you. Each day is another chance to practice, to grow, and to walk more fully in your truth. If this message has touched you today, I invite you to carry it forward. Share it with someone who might need to hear these words. And if you wish to keep exploring teachings like these, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so together we can continue walking this path of wisdom, one mindful step at a time.